Thank you, Mr. Arun. I'm audible.
Yeah, you are, please.
Okay, okay. Um Surya, first of all, many congratulations on your new book, The Digital Choices. I have the copy with me. How technology is going to enable our future. And I have read this book, and truly, this is Reader's Guide to Digital Transformation. The Digital Choices is definitely a treat for emerging technology lovers, and you have explained uh, complex digital transformation concept with simplicity. You have also explained that digital first cannot be ignored at any point of time anymore. So in this book, you have mentioned that Insurtech is the new trend or upcoming trend for tomorrow's insurance. How insurance industry is transforming journey, and it was considered earlier that one of the most conservative industry, and some of the cases have also seen. Now if you can throw some light, or if you can show some of the upcoming trends and landscapes of insurtech industry. Over to you, Surya.
Thanks, Mr. Ganguly, for the kind introduction, and thanks everyone for being here. It's a delight and a pleasure to be talking to you all and discussing InsurTech, the next big thing in insurance. Um, Due to the interest of time, I'll just quickly jump into the question what Mr. Ganguly has asked. You know, historically, modern insurance started from marine coverages in London. So, where a group of ship owners used to gather and put their money in a pool, which is to be used for any damages faced by any ships belonging to the owner's group. So that's how the concept of insurance started. So this marked the beginning of what we are witnessing today. Since then, the insurance industry has seen various ups and downs, and of course, as you mentioned, it is one of the most conservative sector in the world where innovations and advanced techniques never found its way to prominence. It is only a trial situation after things have been proven. But thanks to the 21st century, the consumers are shifting. Many industries, especially insurance, um, are forced to think differently in order to be relevant to what customers need. Like, if I may say so, when individuals and enterprises are themselves moving digital, it's quite imperative that businesses serving these segments in the insurance sector, which was almost whole of the market, had to bring a shift. They have no choice, to be honest, to the mindset and definitely to adopt to the disruption journey. With this, insurers, be it life or non-life, had to sail in the same direction, right? So some may be slow, some may be fast, some may be going in a mergers and acquisition speed. There are startups coming up every part of the world with addressing some part of the insurance life cycle. So this is one of the important trend that we are going to see in this coming decade. So if I have to give a quick brief as well, the insurance industry globally, if you see, is a very complex business as compared to any other financial services. And especially in a time when the global premiums are recorded more than $4.9 trillion as per the figure at the end of 2017. And of course, as we understand to an extent that the industry is quite slow in adopting emerging technologies, the global insurance giants and the insurance stakeholders are increasingly recognizing the importance of insurtech for this particular segment. So if you look at the insurance life cycle, starting from the customer KYC till to product development to claims processing to distribution to reinsurance, every aspect of the life cycle needs a disruption driven by emerging technology, because these are running in a fashion of old school. So we need a great revamp of this particular processes within the life cycle. So, again, to be a bit more specific, the core to this development of the insurance technologies and to address the challenges like customer trust, the distribution methods that was being used, um, or rather, it's currently also used by many of the incumbents, facilitating for new products and commercial values driven out of it, so on and so forth. So these incumbents as well as the startups are taking a significant share in the market when we talk about digital transformation in insurance. If I may quote, the overall investment in 2017 crossed $2.2 billion, which I would say was nothing as compared to what we would foresee in the future. And with a compounded, a CAGR of 69.2% from 2013 to 17. So that is kind of a growth rate we are talking about on what we are going to see in the coming future with respect to developments with whether it's blockchain, IoT, big data, predictive analytics, robotics, drone technologies, Internet of Things, so on and so forth for this particular sector. And we need to think and deal with it now.
Right. Right. Thank you, Surya, for a very insightful comment on that. So you have one of the chapter named Digital Jujutsu. If you can a little bit explain to our viewers and guests, like what do you mean by that, and how it will be helpful for digital transformation.
Yeah, sure. Now, I would like to just quote a paragraph from the book, which I really like to emphasize in all of these discussions. That is, digital disruptions or innovations and whatnot. So we are essentially seeing a loud buzz that's driving us crazy and equally paranoid for the future. The rapid growth in digital wings are beating in the air with an enormous vibration shaking the pollens of today's business. The bigger the purpose, the bigger is the beat, and the slower the wings beat, the lower is the pitch to transformation. Meaning, the digital pollination has begun. So if you see, the knowledge to go digital is everywhere, but taking a step towards them to make it happen is the biggest question. Is that happening in real terms, or is just the awareness that's going on? Now, if I have to give an example, even in current world, in many parts of the world, if you talk about blockchain, people just immediately relate to Bitcoin and nothing else. But essentially, blockchain as a technology has a broader with respect to financial services and other sectors like supply chain, shipping, and even the space industry, where a lot of private investments are happening with respect to satellite developments, spacecrafts, travel to Mars, and etc. So blockchain is primarily playing a role everywhere to provide advantages that we have never imagined before. Similarly, to relate it with the insurance industry, by digital jujutsu, what I mean is the digital fight that is actually happening within the industry between the know-how and the real application. So that is one of the real key areas that we need to focus as a professional, as academicians, as researchers, and as well as the real consumers.
Wonderful, wonderful. Thank you, Surya, for wonderful insights. Now, a lot of takeaways from your book, definitely. And so, any questions from the audience side? We can take up probably one or two questions. If you have any questions from the viewer side.
Surya, this is Arun here. I have a small question, which again got triggered in the previous panel discussion. And now, when you're talking about the know-how and the application, practically, there are multiple ecosystems from where the knowledge can get built up, experiential knowledge, and the know-how can come. We have what do you call? There have been references to the European players, emerging players, and startups, the US emerging players and startups, and multiple people like seniors like Mr. Chatterjee from the Indian giants have come and have given their word. So, where do you think more of these synergies and replications and what you call learning and applications would happen? Would it be which two or three ecosystems can you identify and say that okay, the possibilities of learning here can be applied here more easily?
Yes, Arun. So I would, like to touch upon here the importance of partnership. So
Right.
be it insurtech, be it fintech, be it blockchain or any other technologies, we are still in the phase of emerging. You know, the stage is still nascent. We are all understanding, researching. But at the same time, some are also taking a lead in real-time application. To take the example in insurance, it's always the firms that have actually created some breakthroughs in its product offerings. So one of the greatest example is Lemonade, how they have transformed their claims life cycle for the motor insurance product. So learning and applying would actually need a to and fro partnership, not just going into acquisitions of smaller firms, but a real applicability that is required through partnerships and joint ventures between industries, with industries and academic world, and of course the emerging tech research. So as we know how things can happen or what can happen, but actually what is the real outcome is something that nobody knows and nobody would know until and unless it is being you know researched with real simulations. So I would definitely say one of the areas to move in this area is partnership.
Right. Thank you, Surya.
So any other questions from our guest? All right, so shall we move on to our next segment?
Yeah, Mr. Ganguly, thanks a lot for giving a brief overview of Surya Saha's book, and I can also support the claims you made and the kind of academic research he is carrying out. We all wish him very, very good luck. I would now, because there are a few minutes before our next panel discussion starts, I would like to call back Mr. Um, Walid Al-Sakaf and see if there are any pending questions your panelists could not have answered earlier. So if Mr. Walid Al-Sakaf can give us permission that there are no pending questions, then we will move to Mr. Merlin. Mr. Walid?
I think Walid has to leave. He has another meeting to attend.
Okay. Then I did spot, and then I guess we can go to Mr. Merlin, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I did spot him. Thanks a lot. And for me, I've been looking for two, three, four great takeaways till now in this discussion, and couple of things which can definitely make to the top three are the first one being the way in which Mr. Chatterjee mentioned that the digitization and digital transformation and tech needs to get into the organizational value chain, and that is what builds resilience and that is what creates the customer value, and that is a brilliant insight and which he gave, and not just about digital marketing. So the second point was around, which came from the previous panel discussion, around the need for the collective and collaborative efforts, which again was reinforced by Surya, especially in the emerging markets where the startups cannot take the responsibility of all the awareness creation, but the regulators and existing players and others all need to come in to create this particular awareness. Two great takeaways till now, and much more to come.